To our wonderful friends who have come all the way from Kerala, I say my respects and namaskaram to you all. In this very beautiful morning, all of us have gathered together, looking at the galaxy of speakers, the Rotary annual conference blossom. You are able to bring, I'm 100% sure, throughout the day you will have a lot of opportunity for intellectual stimulation. And we all know people in Rotary, you are all men of character, men of distinction, who wants to leave the world a better place than how you have inherited the world when you are born. The spirit of being a Rotarian, based on the test of truth that has made all of you to evolve into men of character, I believe this is a very, very important trait, because Rotary as an institution over the last many, many years, it has served the world. It has created fantastic leaders and individuals. People who are absolutely distinctive in their own field. Could be a doctor, could be a lawyer, could be a businessman. And after joining into Rotary, going through the process of discovering your leadership, and also getting to serve whenever you get the opportunity, that meetings in the coastal part of Karnataka. I always cherish those memories, the friendship that I made, that continues to be a lifelong friendship even now. And I also had the opportunity to see where governments cannot reach. I've personally seen Rotary can reach, especially the last mile problem. The last mile problem is a big problem for the governments, and Rotary always efficiently does it. So I take this opportunity to greet and wish all the eminent Rotarians who have assembled here for this great morning, and also for a stimulating intellectual discussion throughout the day. I take this opportunity to pay my respects to the conference chair, Ramesh Veeraraghavan Ayya Avargal, and his better half, for putting up this program together with close to 4,900 confirmed registration participants of Rotary District 3201. Opening of the Rotary conference is a good time to talk about. If I am able to bracket geopolitics into three divisions, it is the gold. If I am able to bracket geopolitics into three divisions, it is the gold, which determined for a long time how the world is governed. Then the American dollars, which is determining even now how the world is shaping up. Probably the next 20 years, it is going to be the chips and the silicon wafers that is going to determine how the world is going to shape up and rearrange itself. The dollar was a very important exchange value for a long, long time. It will continue to be for a long time. 58% of the world's reserve is held in dollars. Last month, the SWIFT payment, where the international banking reserve is held in dollars. Last month, the SWIFT payment, where the international banking transaction is done, 49.1% of the transaction across the international settlement happened in dollar. So dollar did not reach here by simply printing a dollar and they reached here. Where 58% over the last 100 years, that has primarily made US as an indomitable superpower, that has made almost all the nations to depend on US. Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to US in the last 2 days, many of us were curiously watching Mr. Trump's statement and Mr. Modi's statement, what they were talking and possibly how Indo-US relationship will shape up in the short period over the next 4 to 5 years. 1870 to 1920 was the first phase where the American dollars, the gold played a part. 1911, 1920, 1925, just before the American Depression, 1933, the US had a very fair share. They said 1 ounce, which is 28 grams of gold, is pegged to $1, which is 20.67, which is $20.67. If you take 28 ounces of gold, that will be equivalent to $20.67. That is what we call the dollar gold reserve. And any dollar you print, 40% of its value should be held in gold. So we all believed, okay, US as a global country has got a marking of $1 to a gold. 1933, when the Great Recession in America started till 1939, even then the world waited. 1944, when 44 countries gathered in New Hampshire in a place called Bretton Woods, they created the internet because dollar is pegged to gold. This is the world. So all of us never had a problem. We thought, okay, this is the world. The World Bank, which is created in 1944, and dollar will be the underpinning value. And India, especially Coimbatore, has got a pride of place because in 1944, pre-independence from our country, we sent 5 people to that conference, agreeing that India will also be a part. 3 Englishmen and 2 Indians. And 1 Indian happened to be a guy from Coimbatore, Shanmugam Shetty Ayya, who happened to be our first finance minister, also was part of the Bretton Woods conference. So no problem, it went on and on and on. Till 1971, when the system collapsed. Sorry, I'm taking 10 minutes to set a base to understand how geopolitics was for the last 100 years, so that we can make some assumptions next 25 years how it will be. 1971, this concept collapsed. Now, it's a very fair value, you know. Dollar, gold, 1 ounce, which is 28 grams of gold, is equivalent to $20.67. So all of us had a very fair belief that dollar as a currency is there because it is backed up by gold. 1971, when the model completely collapsed, when the US said no more gold reserve to dollar, suddenly we didn't know what to do. Because none of the countries could match America's might, even in 1971 at that point of time. Because by the time from dollar, we were slowly shifting towards petroleum, the newfound reserves. Middle East countries have found oil wealth in abundance. Everybody wanted to print dollars. So Americans started recklessly printing dollars. They were printing dollars just like water. The American Federal Reserve became the preeminent global body in the world. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, all big countries like Russia at that point of time. Dollars are by buying petrol, by buying dollars. So dollar became so powerful. Americans determined the geopolitics of the world by using dollar as a medium. For example, Saudi Arabia, when Mr. Trump took over now, he said, somebody asked him, which is the first country you want to go to the world as the US president? Normally, if it is in India, if it is Sri Lanka, we all have a certain pattern. We go to our friendly neighbor. We go to our country that is very closest allied to us. Do you know what did Trump say? Trump said, last time when he took over, Saudi Arabia agreed to purchase $450 billion worth of US goods. So I went to Saudi Arabia as my first country. If Saudi Arabia agrees to buy $500 billion worth of US goods, I will go to Saudi now. Immediately, promptly, the Saudi king called Mr. Trump and said, Trump, don't worry. we are going to invest $600 billion in the US. So that is how dollar as a powerful medium, it shapes not only geopolitics, it also shapes how different countries deal with other countries in the world. So Mr. Trump's first foreign visit as American president is determined by which country is going to invest or buy American products at the American dollar. We are navigating how Boris should be positioned in the next 25 years. It did not stop there. Right from 1971, all the countries which had a lot of petroleum, once you export petroleum out, you get dollars. So that dollars, you got to invest in other parts of the world. For example, we all know Daimler Chrysler, Benz car. Many of you own a Daimler Chrysler, Mercedes-Benz. We all know it's a German company. But how many of you know the number one shareholder of the Daimler Chrysler, the Benz company, is the Kuwait Investment Corporation, which owns 9.7% of the Daimler Chrysler Corporation, because the money Kuwait is earning by selling petroleum, by getting that money, it has to invest in properties across the world. So though it could be a German company, but the petrol that is sold by a Middle East nation, that is traded in dollars, will decide in which country I'm going to buy which company. We all know the Norwegian sovereign fund. Norway population is 55 lakh. So 5.5 million. I think it is smaller than your Rotary district. If I take 3201, if I take the population within the Rotary district 3201, I think the population would be more than 55 lakhs, sir. There are multiple districts. So Norway's population as a country is less than the Rotary district 3201. But the wealth fund they hold is $1.8 trillion is Norway's sovereign wealth fund. For example, India, we are holding $690 billion as foreign exchange reserve. Norway is holding $1.8 trillion. Why? They were very intelligent. They said we are a small country, Scandinavian country. Half the time we are in snow and cold. We need to generate revenue, keep this revenue safe for the next 20 generations. We don't have any right to spend this money now. Very carefully, each of the petroleum barrel they were selling from the North Sea, very carefully they started accumulating. Today it's worth 1.8 trillion. Now you might ask me, what is $1.8 trillion worth? Norway has invested in 70 countries in 6,500 properties. They've invested in companies, they've invested in the global supply chain, they've invested in the manufacturing of big companies, they've invested in rental properties in London and New York. That money which they generate from their investment in 70 countries, it goes back into Norwegian sovereign wealth fund. That gives 20% of Norway's budget. That is why Norway happens to be one of the richest countries in the world. We have to understand the geopolitics, how dollar as a medium, how petrol as a commodity, when they both combine together, it determines the world politics and geopolitics, not only for the last many years, but also for the next few decades as well. If I go one step further, Americans are very clever. You have my dollar, your assets are held in my dollar, your SWIFT transactions are done in my dollar, you better buy my products back into your country. That is why Iran and US is fighting now. But once they were so close allies, Americans used to when Iran sell their oil out, Americans, dollar is the world's currency. Oil is flowing out. People are generating so much money that is again capped in dollar. So I have my defense company. All the big companies in US, I have to sell fighter jets, I have to sell missiles. So better you buy my product because you are holding this in dollar. How do you break this? Till anybody thinks of breaking this, America is going to be the superpower of the world for many, many years to come. That is why Mr. Trump, immediately after he took over, he said two things day one. He said, anybody who has put a tariff on American product that is entering into US soil, I am going to put a counter tariff for your product entering into my soil. He said, number one. This affects all countries. Straight away he said, Canada, Mexico, all my neighbors, I'm going to put, like India, he said, I'm going to put tariff on you because my Harley Davidson motorbike is costly. My America Bourbon is costly. My California wine is costly in India. I am going to put tariff on. Just imagine. Second, he said, if anybody thinks about creating a parallel global currency, I am going to levy 100% tariff on those countries. So you all know the story is the Brazilian president, Mr. Lula, India, China, South Africa, together all five of us